So, Ian, it's so wonderful to be in this place. It's really full of energy during the entire Congress here. So, wonderful to be here with you, Ian. We've just closed a panel on the power of partnerships. My name is Klaus Runge. I'm the Global Head of Market Access, Public Affairs and Sustainability for Bayer. And during the panel that we just closed, we talked in depth about the learnings of partnerships, how you come together and how you actually grow together. To me, partnerships is about being in it together. We're aiming for scalable partnerships, for systemic partnerships, for sustainable partnerships, and partnerships that follow the principle of freedom of choice. And I think the partnership that our organizations and our teams have committed to is a good example of what good looks like. We share some objectives. So you have a set of objectives for UNFPA, of course. Yeah. A part of it we can help with. We said we want to help 100 million women worldwide in low and middle income countries to gain access to modern contraception by the end of the decade. And of course, there is no chance we would be able to achieve this just on our own. So we need partners like you. We've had a couple of other experts and well-renowned organizations in the ecosystem joining the panel. But first and foremost, we spent already quite some time together smithing the partnership. How has that been for you, the journey, and what are your learnings, and what did you pick up to say, this is what we need to be successful going forward?
Thank you, Klaus. It's great to be with you here on live stage. And I'm Ian McFarlane. I work for the UNFPA, the UN Sexual Reproductive Health and Rights Agency. And we both recognize that power of partnership, and it's wonderful to be having a partnership with you. It's so important, I think, as we keep saying here in this space, given the need. And I think that let's also be very clear, this is a big problem that we can only solve if we work together. 251 million women would like to avoid pregnancy and are unable to do so safely and as they wish. And that number is only going to grow unless we act together really quickly. There are quite a few learnings about partnership, and we discussed that. I think it's great that we can be open in a partnership and describe what it is and how it works. Clear on our results, clear on sustainability, clear on who does what. And I think it's a great moment that we actually last night signed our agreement together, which charts a path forward.
It's fantastic, and the news has been so well received also in our organization. It's been great to see how the different work streams have worked together to work on specific chapters of this collaboration going forward. And I would like to cite a few comments that were raised in the panel. So Naomi from the Gates Foundation, for example, said, we need to leave the egos aside to really work productively together. And she cited another member of the Challenge Initiative who said, the joint agenda is so much bigger than the single agenda of the respective organizations. And I think that speaks a clear language. We have to double down on partnerships when we want to achieve the FP 2030 goals. And that is really clear to me. So I found it very inspiring. I've learned a lot. And I think curiosity is also something we need to really nurture and support within our organizations, within our teams, in the pursuit of the joint objectives. And that is something where I have to say, I'm really grateful for all the input your team, you have given in the overall process. And I think that can make us even better in the collaboration. So looking forward, this is a public-private partnership. I think it's also a different setup that also we as a company are not used to. So how do you look forward in this public-private partnership?
Yeah, I think it's the values that we both bring from that combination, right, of the private sector and the public sector. And of course, we're going to be working not just between us, but with governments in countries where we work together, with our teams who are looking at innovating new products, where we're catalyzing further scale up of interventions that we know have worked. I think that point that you made about the learning is really critical. It is an ongoing journey of learning. And on the one hand, the UN has certain advantages because we represent the international human rights frameworks. We set some standards. We have our connections, as we do as UNFPA, with government counterparts, intergovernmental processes. But we also have our own language. We have our own culture. And I think it's really important to understand that we have to find that common ground, as we have been able to do with our teams working together over quite a few months to come up with a clarity of what we're going to do. To answer your question about looking forward, unfortunately, I think there's far too much conflict in the world and not enough peace, right? One of the things that we're going to do together, but we'll also be doing with other partners that we have and that you have, is responding to the needs of women in conflict humanitarian settings. We need to understand better how we get products to them. We need to get better at understanding how we learn from that process. And I think our joint expertise and comparative advantages will help a lot in that. So that's one of the big things that I think I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, Ian. Supporting women in times of crisis and in situation of deep crisis is actually something we have also embarked on. With some of the work we've done over the past 2 years. As you said, there's too much conflict, too much harm in the world. But especially in the area of logistics, we've been able to really bring product forward, expertise forward in some of the most vulnerable settings, I would say. So I was intrigued, perhaps, to also finish off today's discussion in this setting here. I was intrigued also by the principles that you put forward. I referred to some of the principles that we as a private sector representative have put forward, but you also spoke to them during the panel, and I think it would be good to share them here also with the crowd.
Thank you. I mean, we've kind of tried to evolve our partnership model, and I think that's good. I think also there's a lot of conversation here about the kinds of partnerships that we need. And there's been a lot of talk about ecosystems and platforms, and I think that's really important for us to think through together to go to scale for women and girls. From our side, we kind of think about it in terms of resources, and I don't mean that by just funding direct to us, but leveraging resources and finances that will make a difference at the national level and scale, and including something that we're doing together is investing in innovation to expand what works. So there is the resources piece, but there's also the reach piece. And I think given the scale of the challenge that we're facing in this family planning community, the value of being able to work through customers, employees, suppliers, as well as civil society, etc., that is going to really enable us to reach a lot more people quicker. So I think those are a couple of the things that I think are really important principles for us together.
Wonderful. I think that's also a nice outlook for partnerships to be made and for existing partnerships to be expanded. I want to thank you all here in the room and online for your attention. This is a place of energy. You may have heard the music. This was the anthem of partnership, by the way. And I hope you all have a fantastic rest of the Congress. And I look forward to our continued great work in the partnership with you, Ian, and your team. Yes. So it's been really, really powerful. And I'm optimistic that we are on track to achieve very ambitious goals together. So thank you very much.